Hey guys, all right, we are going to do a quick burpee tutorial. I absolutely love burpees. My favorite body weight conditioning exercise. I can do them anywhere. I don't need anything. I don't even need shoes. But I know a lot of people find them so intimidating. I mean, they are extremely challenging. But there's a lot of stuff, that you can implement. There's a lot of progressions that means anybody can do a burpee from beginner to advanced. And I'm going to start at the beginning with the beginner variations. Now, before I get into it, feet width is very, very important. Typically, when you see people doing burpees, their feet are together and then they crouch down. When they crouch down, there's a lot of flexion in the spine. Taking your feet just a little wider than your hips into a bit of a wide squat stance, this reduces the spinal flexion so much. Most people are pretty amazed that burpees are so much more approachable, so much more possible than they thought, because they're not being totally worn out through the low back, through the spine. So all of the progressions will always have your feet apart. Now, we're going to start at the very beginning with a platform. If you're unable to get your hands down to the floor close to your feet, that means the back of your hand should be pretty close to your big toe or in line with your big toes. If you have to reach forward due to hamstring flexibility or hip flexibility, you need to use a platform. Really reaching way out in front, that's going to put a lot of stress on your back. It's not going to feel productive. It's not going to feel athletic. So grab a small platform. That could be a little tricky at first, but it's well worth your time to find the right platform so that you can get going with these burpees. All right, I've got a step here. I'm going to stand around it, right? So my feet are going to be hip width. I'm going to put my hands on the step. Hips go back first, then the knees. Try to keep your spine as straight as you can. That means not reaching down through the back, reaching down with the hips and the knees. Hips back, hands to the box, step out into plank, step back in, and stand up. Super simple. One more time. Hands down. Hips, knees, step, step, in, stand. When you stand, you're coming all the way up. Full extension at the hips. Squeeze the bum for just a moment. Stopping here. Again, it's going to wear out your back. Okay, next up, we're going to step in, and we're going to add a reach. Really simple. Starting off the same, hips, knees, step, in, reach, step, in, and reach. Adding just a little bit of a reach overhead is going to increase the difficulty very slightly. Next one, I am going to jump my feet out together and jump back in. Same beginning. Start off at your box, hips back, knees bent. Jump your feet together, landing in a plank. Be careful. Don't let your hips drop. You want to keep them up, land as solidly as you can. When you feel stable, come back in. And stand up. Again. Down, out, in, up. Now, that jump out, that's a big step. A lot of people start to experience some back pain in that position. My advice is to slow way down. Jump and hold. If you're going too quick, it's very, very difficult to feel what it should feel like, what feels wrong, what feels right. So just slow way down for now. Jump out and pause. Gain control, gain stability before you come back in. Next one, we're going to jump out, jump in, and actually jumping jack. You always know what a jumping jack looks like, right? When my feet come back in, instead of standing, I'm going to stand and add in and out with my feet. This is a nice way to go from non-impact, no jump, to the jump. Sometimes the jump up is a big step. It's too big. Instead, we're going to jumping jack. It's kind of a nice stepping stone. Okay, back to our box. Hips back, hands down, jump out, jump in, jumping jack. Out, in, jack. I'm going to add some arms. Out, in, jack. Out, in, jack. Well done. Great work, guys. Okay, the last progression with the box is the jump straight up. I'm going to jump out. I'm going to jump in. Instead of the jumping jack, I'm going to go straight up in the air. Ready. Down, out, in, up, out, in. One more. Out, in, and up. Now, every single time you land, you're going to be absorbing that impact. When you jump up, spring down. Means my knees immediately absorb the impact. If you land with rigid legs, again, you're wearing out your knees, you're wearing out your back. It's not athletic. It will not allow you to progress comfortably. So start to get good at landing soft. It does actually help to be indoors, because if I land with a thump, things rattle. Pictures on the wall start rattling a little bit. If they're rattling, I'm landing too hard. I need to lighten up and land as soft as possible. Next, we get rid of the box and start over. Now, that being said, the box height, you should progressively lower the height of the step you're using. I know that's going to be tricky to find the right size, but it is definitely worth it. Going from even this height, about a foot, to the floor, that's going to be a bit of a shock if you have poor hip mobility and poor flexibility through the hamstrings in the back. So strategically lower that step over time. Don't make a big jump. You will know when you are ready. Your hamstrings will not be crazy stretched. It will be comfortable to put your hands down, and you will be able to put your hands down very close to your feet, in line with your big toe. If you're still reaching really far forward, keep that box. Maybe you're using that box for a while. That's all good. I know that there are still ways to make the intensity challenging. If flexibility is a problem, keep with the box as long as you need to. All right, without the box, it's going to look pretty much the same. My hands are going to go down. I'm going to jump into plank. I'm going to jump in. And from there, I can either jumping jack, or I can stand, or I can jump straight up. I'm going to go through all three. Ready? Hands down, jump out, jump in, jumping jack. Down, out, in, stand. Down, out, in, and up. Lots of little tiny variations within that. I could step out and in, I can jump out and in, I can jumping jack, I can jump up, I can stand up. Lots and lots of ways. So after that, those are tough enough, right? But after that, there are still ways to make this harder. You can add a push-up, get into the plank, do a push-up, come back in, stand, jump, jumping jack. You can put your entire body to the floor, nose, chest, thighs. There's so many ways to build up and up and up. I know it sounds a bit crazy right now. You're just trying to get your head around successfully doing burpees in your workouts. But trust, it is possible. It will happen. If you start with the beginner progressions and build up, you'll get to anything you want to. Great work, guys. Thanks so much. 100 burpees. Get to it.